All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Accessibility NYC, and thank you so much for braving the elements to join us here tonight. On behalf of our co-organizers, I'd like to welcome you, and to also those of you that are watching out on the internet on our live stream, I'd like to say hello to you as well. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our generous sponsors, Equal Entry, contributing to a more accessible world, Adobe, Level Access, and Thoughtbot, who are also providing the lovely meetup space that we're in tonight. These meetups are very much a team effort, so I'd also like to thank, in addition to my co-organizers, I'd like to thank Jolly McPhee from the Internet Society, who's producing tonight's live stream, and also Mir by Night from White Coat Captioning, who is making all of the lovely captions happen tonight. I invite you all that are here to stick around after the presentation to mingle and to chat and to maybe have a one-on-one conversation with our presenters. We'll have some Q&A at the end of the presentation, but if you have some additional questions and follow-up, please stick around. And this is a meetup after all, so there's social element to it, so please interact. And with that, without further ado, I'll hand it over to tonight's presenters, all the way from Spain tonight, PUXL Framework. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Thoughtbot, for... okay. Well, set it out like this. Okay, there's? Yeah. Better sound? Okay. So thank you again very much for coming, for sharing your time with us. It's an honor to be here for us. And before I begin, I would like to say hello to some people that couldn't come. We are a team of 5 now, and we were supposed to be 3 here in New York City, but we only managed to come 2 of us. So we would like to say hello to Xavier, our CEO. He's a nice guy. He, as a joke, he just to call people like fluffy toy, or in Spanish it's called peluche, so hola peluche. And because he couldn't come with us, we did take him with us, and we printed out the face of Xavier, and he's so nice in here. So there you go, Xavier, you are with us in New York. And also I would like to say hello to Mom and Dad, hola Ita, hola Ma, mucho amor. And I will begin. So I don't want to miss anything. I am designer, human developer, but I am not a group presenter, so I will stick to the script because I don't want to miss anything. I hope not to be boring reading in a language that is foreign for me. So I will speak in 2 parts, the problem and the solution, because we come here principally to propose a solution. The first part is for those who are watching and still don't know the web development industry. The second is called What is PUXL Framework and how does it work? It's more technical and more appropriate for this audience. To the end, I will show a demo of the tools we want to introduce you today, okay? So this is Xavier with us in Times Square. Ay, qué bonito, guapo. And okay. The web is made of a complex mess of technologies and programming languages constantly evolving. The main languages used to build the web are HTML to give websites structure and content, CSS for appearance and design, and JavaScript or JS for interaction and behavior. HTML language is the baseline of all the web to build. Excuse me, is the base of all websites. It's very flexible and has a particular feature. It can work even if it has coding errors in it. And web browsers do a great job rendering that code even if it's incorrect or incomplete. If HTML code is not properly written, it can become a technological barrier to do things in the web. The web is built by the developer community that writes code and in this and other languages. In this community, there are professionals, semi-professionals, amateurs, newbies, and everyone in between. Not every one of us in this community have the same skill set and know good coding practices. At the beginning of our careers, we had no idea, then we learned, and then wrote code. To do it, we had to learn from others, good or bad in their field. For many, it can be very easy to follow trends and works from others, and inadvertently inherit bad habits, restrictive ideas, ignorance, or simply tiny human mistakes of other developers without ever realizing. So web development is so complex, for many it's impossible to be good at everything a website may require in all stages. Usually, by mistake or ignorance, bad or not good enough code and hidden errors are published to the web. Depending on the particular conditions of a website, the devices, the human browsing it, and the environment in that moment, the access and interactions with that website could be very different. If not, it's not the same to browse a website from a smartphone outdoors in a sunny day, a computer with a broken mouse, or a tablet attached to a wheelchair without touching it with fingers. A website must work decently in all these three conditions and many possible more. Sometimes assistive technologies are used to browse the web, like voice assistants, screen readers, and many more. Bad code in websites could provoke friction or impossibility to perform actions under certain conditions. For many of us, could mean little or no problem, but millions of human fellows with functional diversity, for them this is real life Steel's day and has consequences in the day-by-day basis. In the process of creating a website or application, web accessibility, if known in advance, is often left at the end as an additional feature, like an extra work to be done. It's treated like a final revision with potential hard changes in all the work done for weeks or months by one or many in a team. Leaving accessibility for the end could require to iterate production processes, extend deadlines, and deplete budgets. That's why it may be seen as a threat by many. Web accessibility must be considered at the beginning of any project by all departments involved, not at the end when it's too late and expensive in many ways. It's very difficult to write perfect code in a hurry, with no time to stop for anything. Not stopping to learn about web development because of other important priorities could perpetuate bad code outcome. To fight it back, we have to be well educated, or bad code will continue to spread. Fortunately, there is a lot of educational help coming from public and private sector, groups and individuals that do a great job raising awareness, financing and publishing educational materials, and public encounters, like this one, for example. We can be overwhelmed with so much work, we don't have spare time to invest in learning new topics. Sometimes we don't even know about the new things we need to know. This looks like the recipe of a systemic failure in this industry. We think some kind of continuous educational assistance is essential. It should happen in the moment of coding, but without distractions. We have the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG. Is WCAG in here in English? Do you say it WCAG? Okay. So the WCAG is made by the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C, to guide us all towards a universal web. It's the international reference for coding accessible patterns, and a document so long and detailed is not suitable for everyone, therefore not mainstream. We have 3 versions of WCAG. Version 2.0, 2.0, no? 2.1, 2.0, how do you say that? 2.0. 2.0. Version 2.0 in 1999, version 2.0 in 2008, and the current 2.1, which is an upgrade of 2.0 to reflect the new ecosystem of devices that came to the web in the recent years. First were smartphones with touchscreens, then they came tablets. They brought new things like screen orientation, gestures, using one or more fingers. Countries and governments rely on the WCAG specification to write their legislations, but WCAG itself is not law. These laws are made to protect the human right to access to information and education, and forced to follow accessibility standards to virtually every website of public interest or products or services available to the general public. Canada adopted WCAG 2.1 and is a significant source of trade with the USA. In Europe, the European Standard for Information and Communications Technologies was updated last year in 2018, including WCAG 2.1 in it. Then the European Union invited all member states to adopt these new standards in the legislations, and Spain headed the trend, adopting the WCAG 2.1 and requiring AA compliance level for websites. In some countries of Latin America, we know there are works in the making to update all government websites to WCAG 2.1 AA standard in less than 2 years' time. At the end of this story, right protection laws come and force websites to be accessible under the threat of administrative or economic punishment to owners of businesses or web developers. For many companies, lawsuits and fines can be a huge problem, sometimes could mean end of operations. There are countries like Spain where it is possible to file a lawsuit against the website even if the website is not required by the law to comply with WCAG 2.1 AA accessibility recommendations. In the USA, there is a section 508. 508? 508? Okay, 508. Cool. You have the section 508, which refers to WCAG 2.0, with a requirement of compliance level of AA. This specification, the 2.0, is 11 years old today. There is also the American with Disabilities Act, or ADA, and specifically the Title III says that websites are an extension of companies, therefore public spaces. Some interpret this as the obligation to refer to WCAG 2.1 AA because it's the last standard. This uncoordination between laws 508 and ADA is propitiating an ambiguous legal turmoil around web accessibility issues. The number of lawsuits are increasing in the last years, especially in the state of New York, and they cost lots of money in lawsuits and trials to public administrations and the general public. We think this situation can be prevented making WCAG 2.1 AA compliant websites. By doing this, they are WCAG 2.0 AA compliant in one shot, so no more section 508 or ADA to worry about. For web development, there are many automated tools to help make accessible making accessible well-written code like code checkers and browser plugins. They integrate in the development process to measure the quality and interactivity of works, but they work only if they are installed and, most importantly, used. To make life a little easier to developers, there are also a number of frameworks and libraries available, usually free and open source, to help build web user interfaces, but most of them don't follow the last international web accessibility standards. Some of the most popular frameworks use non-optimized coding patterns, and they do things with much more code than necessary. And then they often depend on other frameworks or libraries, adding even more load to network data requests, but still are the mainstream tools today. So what if we could get rid of all of this? What if we could forget about legal issues and accessibility standards that we may not understand, or wouldn't it be just great? If developers were guided when writing code and prevented from delivering non-accessible code in the first place, all the problems mentioned before would be avoided. These problems would no longer be problems for anyone in and out of the web. In the end, 1 billion humans with some degree of functional diversity is a huge market to invest in. So I'm glad to tell you we came here not to be pessimistic with this current situation remaining problems that many of you already know, but to bring a technological solution to this situation. Today, and for the first time in the USA, we introduce you PUXL framework. PUXL framework is a tool for developers to help them create modern websites that are accessible by default. It's an easy-to-use tool like most popular frameworks, and with preventive measures built in to deliver WCAG 2.1 AA code. It's a collection of pre-designed modules of accessible, lightweight code patterns. They are written in HTML5, CSS3 using Sass, and JavaScript. The framework is documented, and modules are ready to copy and paste. It's free and open source, licensed under GPL version 3. It has no dependencies from other frameworks and is totally customizable to fit in virtually any modern web project. If you know Bootstrap, Foundation, Materialize, you know PUXL framework. Installation is simple and no command line is required. Just include the folder containing PUXL framework in your project and link to CSS and JavaScript files you need. All CSS styles of modules are compiled in a single CSS file. Modules can be included or excluded from the projects to optimize the size of the resulting file and save network load. When creating websites with PUXL framework, if for any reason something important for accessibility is missing in these patterns, once the code is fixed, the message disappears. It includes automated color management algorithms to help developers doing the heavy load of contrast calculations that are so complicated or simply impossible to many. It works thinking on semantic HTML5 for document structure, and patterns are reduced to the minimum necessary. This way we avoid DVDs or beef soup and spam salads and reduce load for data transfer. So, finished. You want to see it working? Yeah. It's a bold statement of this, but we can do it. So, we'll leave this here. So, I'll bring you a little demo of how PUXL framework works. This is a simple website, a usual simple structure. This HTML code was given to us by our client, for example, or our department, and this is raw code with no styles in it. You can see here buttons and SVG images, text with no formatting in it, and it looks like not professional. This is a design we have to work in. So the first thing we have to do is to, excuse me, okay, so this is the document. We will include the PUXL framework. I will include the minimized style sheet of PUXL and save the document. What? No, sorry. Okay, you see the captions now? Okay. Okay, so I will go to the website, and once it's loaded the website, then style sheet. Let's see if it works. Oh, maybe it didn't save. Okay. So here it is. Here we have the design. This is trashy. Here we see some red error messages, and even though we have a structure for the page, we have failings in here. So, for example, the first message says that missing attribute dir or direction in this HTML tag. The direction attribute value defines the horizontal direction of the text flow. It can be left to right or right to left. For example, HTML dir LTR or HTML dir RTL. So once we have this message, we go to the HTML file, we put it dir left to right, for example, sorry. Every time I press Command Save, it prompts the window for the transcription. So this is saved. Okay. And now, if I reload the page, the message disappears. So we didn't know anything about direction in HTML, and now in 1 second we know what we have to do and why it fails and how can we solve. So if we continue with this, we will see that here, if we inspect the elements in the code browser, we will see that, we will see that there is a style that says that the alt attribute is missing. So we'll go straight down to the code, look for the image. I know where is it, I'm not going to bore you. Here it is. So here we put the alt attribute. It can be filled with text or left empty, but it has to be present every time. So once we have added the missing attribute in the website, it goes. And you can keep on following with your design. If we go to the bottom of the page, we will see again a red mess of things that are not working. For example, this button tag must have a type attribute. Use button reset, use button, reset, or submit. For example, button type button, button type reset, or button type submit, such as this. I'll go to the line in the code. No, not so far. Button, here it is. So I will type, and this is part of a form that will send an email address. So we have to use the submit attribute, submit property, sorry. Save, check, and it's gone. And the other thing missing is for the label, for the text field. This says that it has no for attributes in the label. It has to refer to the ID of the element is controlling. So we go there, we put here for, and here we'll copy paste the ID of the element who is referring to. Again, save, sorry. I'm not used to it, sorry. So save.
May I ask a question while you're doing that?
Yeah, of course.
Could you use the mic? Okay.
And then the error disappears.
So, except for the alt text, which to me seems to be a clear accessibility issue, and which you by incident left blank, why is this an accessibility issue? The errors with the buttons or the omissions with the buttons?
With the buttons?
Yeah.
We didn't specify the function of this button. It's not to perform a generic action like a button should do, or to reset the form, or to send it to the server. So we have to specify the function of this button.
Right, but that's a sort of a generic HTML coding thing and a mistake you make. Yeah. But what is the accessibility issue with that mistake?
Maybe some, I don't know, because I didn't test it, but I have read that some screen readers done, okay, people say, okay, thank you.
What happens is when the screen reader is reading it, it has to say,
Sorry, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
What happens is when the screen reader is reading and you're tabbing through, it'll read button, but it's not telling the person what type of a button. If you tell you have to specify it so the screen reader can say it's a submit button or a reset button, and that's why you need to do that. And with the images, if the image is not giving you, if it's not relaying information about it, that's why you leave it empty. But if the image has a specific message that needs to be read, then you write that in the alt.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I also have a question.
Thanks. So I think that these error messages are wonderful, but it also brings a question, is there like a dev and a prod version? So like for dev, I get these error messages, I go through everything, and then for production, it's leaner, doesn't require giving me all those messages.
Excuse me, I didn't understand.
Oh, sure. So usually with libraries like these that are helpful to the developer, there's usually two versions. So there's one that probably has like JavaScript that checks for all these things and gives me messages. And then there'll be another one that's much leaner because it's for production. So I don't require like seeing all that functionality. So I was wondering if that's the case here, or does it only have one version?
In this version of PUXL framework, the one you can download today, you have always the message. In the next version, we have a flag to stop the messages while you are in production, or to put them when you need them.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you. By the way, it would be released in the next months, maybe. We will let you know. Okay, so we are done with the errors on the page, but we have something here missing as well. Here, sometimes when we are in production, we know that we will have a menu, and we don't have all the links that the menu will get us to. So here we have a little note saying, hey, you're missing the href because you have the hash? Yes. That's the hash, okay, thank you. So here, if we go to that link, to that particular link, we will see that here the href has the hash. And if we put, for example, the website of PUXL, okay, not command save. Okay, now we go to the website, and this little note disappears. So now we have a code that we didn't know we had to fix, and in a couple of minutes we know how to fix it, why, and by the way we learned why we had some errors. So this is information pills right in the moment to tell you that you need to fix something, and when you have fixed, it goes away and you can continue with your work. So that way you don't have to wait to the end to know what's failing in accessibility in your code. So this is basically the thing how it works. I'm not going to test with screen readers or with other assistive technologies, but I will use the Axe plugin. Axe? I don't know. Axe, thank you. The Axe plugin, and I will make a little audit of this particular page. Analyze. And so congratulations, we have 0 errors, violations. Pardon? Yeah, just to show the developer. I will take it back down. Thank you.
If you move the captions, I lose
I'm sorry. Sorry. So yeah, maybe if I do this, we have no problem. Okay, so I will analyze to show you again. So congratulations, you have 0 violations. Nothing to review, nothing rejected or best practices recommended. So this is for developers. It is for people who write code. But what if you don't write code? You just publish content to the web, like writers, designers, or whatever. We have created a set of tools to accompany to PUXL framework. The first one is a set of icons in SVG, so that they can be, excuse me, okay, here. They are SVG, they are scalable, they have the title and description in it. Each SVG has title and description, and you can use it for free as well. It is free and open source, and is licensed under GPL version 3. But what if you don't want to mess with code because it's not your job or it's too difficult for you? We also prepared a solution. We have been working working on a WordPress theme, because WordPress is more than a quarter of the web, is really widespread. It's not the only focus we have, but this is the first step. So we are Sorry, by the way, I will give you the links later of both PUXL icons and the WordPress theme. The WordPress theme we did is something very simple, sleek, no design, something you can build something upon, you can customize it, and is written from zero using PUXL framework to deliver an accessible code or an accessible structure. Then the content depends on you, but the beginning of the website is accessible, is 2.1, is WCAG 2.1 compliant, and is AA compliant. So here's the test. It's a simple design, as you can see, but if we inspect with Axe again, okay, congratulations. So you're starting clean, and over this you can customize however you want it. Both, no, sorry, I miss, okay. Both PUXL icons and PUXL framework and the WordPress theme, that by the way is our first theme for WordPress and is meant to be for all. So for all in Latin is said omnibus, and like a little geeky joke, we call it Omnibus Prime, like the Transformers. Yeah. So you can find PUXL icons in puxl.io/PUXL dash. Is it dash the character? Okay, I have a good English. puxl.io/PUXL dash icons, and the repository is on github.com/PUXL/PUXL dash icons. And Omnibus Prime is, you can see the demo in puxl.io/demo, and the repository is in github.com/PUXL/WordPress-theme-omnibus-prime. So this is what we do. We have a tool to solve some human problems, because sometimes not being able to deliver good code is a human problem of deadlines, not because technology cannot get to that point. And we want to work towards a universal web, and we think this is the way to go. So thank you very much. With love from Basque Country, the place where we come from. See you at WordCamp New York City, because we will stay here until Monday, and maybe at WordCamp US too. If you want to follow the event, I'm sorry I didn't say that before, I missed it. You can use the hashtag PUXLTour19, because this is one step of our tour that we have been making in Spain and now a bit internationally. So thanks for coming, thanks for allowing us to be here, and whatever questions are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And
Pleasure.
so we'll open it up for any questions that you may have. Just wave me down and I'll hand you the mic. That also goes for anybody on the internet. We can, if you chat into on the page, we can ask on your behalf. So.
There, so yeah, thanks again. I love how this looks, especially since it's helpful not just to future end users and clients, but also just like, did I get all my links? So that was a great little feature. Sorry, I just thought of my question. I think I just forgot it. Oh jeez. Yeah, I did that fast. Okay, let's try
You
one
can later,
more.
don't worry.
I'll write it down this time. We can try a different person.
Okay, okay.
No worries.
Anything else?
Hi, thank you for presentation.
Thank you.
About the error message that you showed me for the framework, is that customizable? So saying that, what if the look and feel of the error message somewhat overlap with existing style of website itself? So maybe it's hard to recognize in that case. So is that the way that you can change look and feel of the error message style in a way?
Do you mean to customize the way error messages are displayed, and in which case?
In which case, for example, like the error message you show me is red background and white text on it, right?
Yeah.
So saying that, what if the original style of the website has a same red background, white text.
Yeah.
Then in that case, how do we alter that look and feel? Is there any way that you can change that?
To be true, I didn't think about this case. There is no way to customize yet the error messages or when are displayed. They are built in each coding pattern of the framework and of each module. But for now, and this is a great idea, by the way, thank you. We don't have the way to customize the error message. In case of this, for example, let's Coca-Cola trademark. This is red. It should happen, yeah. It's the case, but the red color wouldn't differentiate with the background color of the website or the place is displayed in, but you will get the text. So it messes up your design until you solve it.
Sure.
And so until you solve it, you cannot go on. If you want to make a website with PUXL framework, you will end up knowing how not to fail again in this website or in this code pattern, particular code pattern.
Right.
So it would be differentiated in the color, but you will have the text.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm back. I wrote it down this time. So my question was, I was looking at the GitHub and I was wondering if there is a reference either now or in the future so I can see exactly what's being tested for. Like maybe I have some edge case and I don't know that it's not going to give me, back up there.
For now, we don't have that. We are setting up all the GitHub account to make it collaboratively because until now, this project, I was the only one writing the code. I come from a team, we do different things, but I am the only responsible of the code for the moment. So we are setting up the GitHub to give this response to developers like you. For now, the testing has been made with a Mac, with VoiceOver, and in Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Android phones, iPhones, iPads, and the design is not broken, so it works. But more testing should be done, and we're looking forward to more tests and answers and checks, and so for now we don't have, but for now.
That just brings up one more question.
Yeah.
It looks like on the GitHub, that's everything that's like production, like client facing. So I was wondering, is there a different repository or way to kind of like help with this open source project, add more documentation, help it grow, that sort of thing?
Pardon, I didn't understand the question.
Oh, sure. Do you have a system in place already if people want to help contribute to this?
You mean opening doors for everyone to contribute?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I missed, I forgot to say that we are an open community, so everyone is welcome. So anything you can bring to the project is really, really welcome and maybe needed.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
With the PUXL icons, you didn't just show it, but I assume that the icons are displayed on the website. Mm-hmm. And you said this is for like non-developers, right, to use. Is there any type of reporting? So a non-developer runs the icons, and is there a way to say, run a report saying this is what's on the site, these are the violations on the site?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Okay, so the icons show violations in the code, correct?
No.
No? What do the icons show?
Because they are pre-made, they are done that way. They are not meant to be customizable. Of course, you can customize, but they don't show any kind of error in the SVG.
Oh, so maybe I misunderstood. What do they show?
Pardon?
What are the icons showing?
The icons is just a collection of icons you can use to craft any modern website.
Oh, okay.
There is
I misunderstood.
300 plus icons and many more coming, but they are pre-made just to copy paste and use it in your project, scalable and without pixelation and so on.
Oh, okay.
But for now, you don't have the error detection in the icons.
nothing to the earlier question. Are there test cases that you're not, like for some of the 2.1 stuff where you're testing for mobile, or how does PUXL deal with some of those test cases today?
Which
Like mobile orientation or things along those lines?
it works. I repeat that it's something that should be more tested by many more people than just me, and I hope it will be that way soon. But for now, all the tests that we have done, they are working seamlessly.
Okay.
So it's like Bootstrap or Foundation. You use it in one project, and it goes all the way down to all devices and orientations and so on. So without breaking. So if you test it and encounter a fail, please let us know. Because it will be really important. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess this one is a bit more for clarity. It's not that I think that the program doesn't work. It's testing me, right? So it's saying, hey, you did this thing wrong, and this is how you can fix it. How do I find out exactly what it's checking for? I guess if that wasn't clear earlier, is there like a reference for that?
You mean in which particular line of the code there is the error message?
Yeah, like is there a way for me to see, or if it's not the code, is there like a document?
Yeah. Okay. And in any browser, you can go to the code inspector, and here, if I select the image I fixed before, you will see here the line. So with this reference, you can relate to the code in your editor, change it, save, and all done. Or maybe was not the question.
I don't think it's quite what I'm looking for. Okay, so one thing that this tool does is it checks to see if like all of my A-link hrefs are going through to somewhere. So that's something it does, something it's testing for. How do I get that reference of all the things it's testing me for?
It shows it to you when you know how he was highlighting.
Oh, sure.
I think it shows that's the error messages that they show you.
Yeah, so like those error messages, there was code. Should I go back there? Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so yeah, for like those error messages, right, there's code saying, I checked for this and it failed. What are those checks? What all is it testing me for, you know?
It doesn't display the line in this line.
Not
shows in the
like
design.
not my code. Like what is it doing? I don't know how else to.
That's all about it.
Yeah. Do you have a
List of tests.
yes.
So what happens is it's testing all the so it tests for accessibility errors,
Yeah.
right? So the testing it's doing.
I think the question is, do you have a list of all the test cases that the tool is actually going through to verify that you're actually testing for all the accessibility test cases?
Yes.
Unfortunately, not yet, because there is a lot of work to be done, and it's too much for just one guy. But yes, this will be in the future. The way it works is every code pattern, every module that forms PUXL framework should behave somehow, so in a very particular way. So if the code is not displayed or it's not written in that particular way, or you miss something, it will tell you this is failing because this structure, this HTML should be that way.
Yeah.
If you customize it and create a new module, PUXL maybe won't recognize the errors you're using. That's why we're making a wide library of modules to be used and interchanged in different ways to make different projects.
Good. So to be announced, I guess. Cool.
Thank you.
So my question to you is, what's the difference between your application and Axe? Because Axe, isn't that what Axe does also?
The difference is each module has the set of instructions right in the CSS. So you don't have to test it using JavaScript or server-side interactions. That's why it's real-time when displaying and hiding the message. It only displays if the code is not working the way it should work.
So as you're writing the code, the messages come up as you're testing, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right in the moment.
Okay.
As I showed before, we loaded the CSS, and then all messages popped out, And while we were solving them, they were disappearing. To integrate in the production process, and just you have to wait 30 seconds to fix a problem, learn why it was a problem, and not repeating it again, and not going to the end of the production line and say, oh man, we have 135 error messages we missed 6 months ago. Who wrote this in the team? Whatever. Or yourself. Huh?
I know that feeling.
Yeah. That's the way it works.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I missed that from the demonstration. But my question is this framework also detect a conformance level, like whether, let's say, if you have to use like a lighter color on lighter background for the text or something like that, so it does not meet that any standard for the conformance, then in the case, is that also detect that as well?
Okay. First was a color checker JavaScript library made by Leah Veru, and I found from a guy called, I hope to say the name properly, Pelle Westman, I don't know the name, and he made a port of this JavaScript library to Sass. So this checks these are algorithms to check contrast, and they were used with his permission, of course. I have the email because I asked for permission, and there are some algorithms that can calculate for you, if you use any color, which contrast is better, white or black. So it will put it for you. There are other algorithms that are more complex that say, okay, if you have this background color, which shade of this color, lighter or darker, will get the AA compliance in WCAG 2.1. This is done all automatically. So the process is like let me show you. This is the CSS file of the project, and PUXL was loaded here. So we have a set of, maybe you don't see here but well because it's very small. I will try to make it a little bigger. No, it's not working. Okay, so you have here the list of folders and files that work with each other to work, and so on. So you can go to Vim, and this is PUXL Lite, just one file, because there will be another one, this PUXL Dark, and there can be many, many more. So you can just go to the colors. You have here the list of colors, and you can change the color for whatever color you want for your website. You have here the primary, secondary, success, info, warning, and danger. These are common names for the industry. So once you have done the change, you go to the style sheet where, sorry, we cannot see it. Okay. Here you import the setup file. This setup file manages which modules are loaded and which modules are not loaded. So this gives the instructions to SAS to know what does have to compile and what not. When you change the color, the algorithms take care of the color you used, and they will apply the changes and the contrast you wanted for both black and white, or lighter or darker shades of the same color. They will apply to all the website automatically. All the styles, they will be applied automatically. For that, you have to compile the SAS again. So in this compile calculations, the algorithm will do the load of hard work for you to know which contrast do you need. In case you want black or white, you can use one algorithm. In case you want to use any other shade, contrast, or whatever, you can call to another algorithm that is built in the PUXL framework. You're welcome. By the way, let me show you. In the setup file, you have here some main settings. This is like the main control panel of your website. You can check and uncheck some flags like animation enabled, in case you want animation on the website or not, for some people with seizures or any kind of problem with movements. The focus outline enabled. Focus outline is this thing. When you are in the website, I will load it again. You see here this like glowing outline. This is the visual indicator of where the focus is on the page. So while you are tabbing, you can see where are you in the website. And this is the focus outline. If you want it or not, you can check it out. You can check it or uncheck it in this flag. Also, dyslexia enabled. There is a font. It's called Open Dyslexic. It's included. It's open source as well, and it's included in PUXL. So if you check this, it will use this font. If not, it will use regular text of the system. It will be different in Mac and Windows and Linux, but it will be readable code with sans serif font, with minimum of 16 pixels of text in all the website, so you can have a really pleasant and readable experience. The other thing is the grid, the 12 columns. How wide is the gap between the columns? Which height is the gap between rows? Or this, for example, the control box size is the generic name for example, buttons, text fields, selects. They all share a same set of CSS, like height and border color, and so that they can have a common visual appearance and make your design consistent all the way through the website. So you can here check the size, the default size. It can be XS, SM, MD, or LG for different sizes. The default is SM, but we can change it like for MD here, and once PUXL is calculated, all the sizes will change to that. Also the shape, it can be round, it can be capsule or square to have different appearance. I will show you now. Or the look is solid or ghost, sorry. And the variant is default or primary, secondary, or whatever. For example, in this button here that we can see it better. So we have this is not a button, this is a link with an appearance of a button, but with the functionality of a link. Okay, so it appears like a button only for the eye, but for screen readers and keyboard interaction, it works like a link. So here we can change the classes. For example, here we have a class. Maybe if we can see, this is bigger. Oh yes. Yes. Cool. You see here the checks? Okay. So this has the button class of solid, primary, and MD. If I check the classes off, it will change to the standard SM size. If I want to be, instead of with a solid background, like the link we have up in the right, the login button, we will use the ghost class along with the primary to inherit all the styles. If it's a button that has to show success or danger, for example, if you write success, it will take the colors from the palette that are referenced in the success thing. Now the shape. The border of the corners is a bit rounded, but if we want to have like a Windows appearance that is hard edged, we can use the square class, and it will have hard edge. That way you can mimic a Windows appearance. You can customize it just using classes. And yeah.
You said that this is, sorry. I understand that this is a link, and it's a call to action link. I have one quick question. It has the visual aspect of a button. Do you need to add roll button to this or not?
Not necessarily. First was included the roll button, but it depends on the function of the link itself. Sometimes you can mimic a button using a link, and in that case, you need to use the roll button. But if it's going to behave like a regular link with the keyboard, regular keyboard interactions of the link, you don't need to use the roll button. Okay. So you just give the button appearance for the eye, but not the button functionality. Okay. That's why it's not mandatory.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just have one quick question in terms of the overhead of using this framework. Like, how much is this going to be adding to the file size, and how is it going to affect like the page load time?
Pardon? How much?
Yeah, like how is this going to affect like the file size of the project, and will it have any effect in terms of how quickly it goes, like the time to interactive? Or is that just a fairly negligible difference? Because you said it was a pretty minimal framework.
Yeah, it's a pretty minimal framework. It weighs less than material design, but it's not the most lightweight yet. We are optimizing the code and making. I have made some tests, and I think we have 40K reduction. But now let me see how much it weighs. This is thought to be the baseline of any project. Not you have one project already done, and then you load PUXL over it, and then it will mess the thing all up.
Okay, so this is meant to build from the start, not to be incorporated into existing ones.
That's why we have also the Omnibus Prime. That's the starting point. You start clean with WCAG 2.1 AA compliance, and then you forget about many problems. Captions? Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Hello. Okay. So the size of PUXL of this version, the next version will be a bit lighter, I think. Here. PUXL. No, here. Oh, sorry. Document here. GitHub. Okay. PUXL framework. CSS. The minimized CSS is 244 KB.
Okay, so yeah, pretty tiny.
It's pretty tiny, and it will be it will be reduced a little bit in the next version.
Cool, yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a question?
Sorry for the captions. Yes, thank you.
So you had the CSS configuration file, where you had like, is that available for different Bootstrap components, or is it only for us?
Do you mean you want to use Bootstrap along with PUXL framework?
No, let's say you had a content box, right, which you can which you could do like small, medium.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have like other type of components, like on the page?
Yes, right. Yes, they are. Sorry, I should explain. The control box is a generic concept. It's used in PUXL to calculate the size of elements that may appear in a form, such as button selects or text areas, text fields, and so on. So, of course, you can have more modules that are coming, but not yet. The things that you have available now is button with icon and no text, button with icon and text, the checkbox and radio button. By the way, let me show you. If I will put it in here. So I will go to PUXL.io, PUXL.io. From here, I will go to documentation, and I will use the element check. Okay? So we have here, I will make it bigger. Okay. You see here, this is the checkbox. This checkbox is drawn with SVG, so it can be the shape that you want for your design. and it will appear the same in all different operating systems, because each operating system renders the same object, the same checkbox in its own way. So that way you can have a continuous visual design in all the websites. So I will take this one, for example. I will copy. Again, I can copy here, but I will copy all the code, so I will use it here. Go to the website, and I will leave it like, for example, here below the link. Okay? I paste. I will tidy up a little bit. Okay. So if I save the file, I go back to the website, and I can see it will show up here, right here. You can see the checkbox. You can check it and uncheck it. It will work with tabbing with the keyboard. If you press space, it will check and check out. Instead of a checkbox, if you want to use a radio button, you just have to change the attribute here of radio, no, from checkbox to radio, sorry, and it will draw a checkbox for you. It will appear the same in all in all different devices that the website may be displayed on. There are more. There's a label button. Label button is the upload file, but without all the mess of this file is selected and then the button. It's rendered like a regular button. Let me show you here. Now, here, checkbox. Okay, so you go to the label button, and you can here see the upload file. If I click it, it will prompt the dialog to upload a file, and it looks like a button. You just have to copy paste, and it looks like a button. It won't mess any of your forms, or it would display any other component to another place, messing up your design. And to continue, we have also the same label button, but with icon only, or text and icon. The range for sliding on different values or something. The select, the switch, the text area, and the text field. Of course, figure, image, table, and tag as well. So these are the elements available for the framework. Elements are meant to be objects with just one HTML tag or just one function. We have also the compounds. There are compounds by one or more than one elements, such as the alert, top bar, like this one, this main bar, that will, oh, sorry, it will, when you resize it, it will display the open and close. This is all drawn with using the SVG icons of PUXL icons. And this JavaScript interaction that is built in vanilla JavaScript, no need to use for jQuery or whatever. Once you load the JavaScript, it will work. In case that JavaScript is not loaded because our user has a really, really bad bandwidth, or is very skeptical with privacy and doesn't want to use JavaScript in the browser, sorry, save again, the settings, okay. So I just disabled the loading of JavaScript in all the website. So we have no JavaScript here, and this is the result. No, sorry, here is the result. We see here no changes, but when we make the window smaller and the content is overlapping, you'll miss the interaction of the button, but the content is displayed. It's not hidden to the user, visually at least. You can access it by screen readers or assistive technologies, but you wouldn't see it. So it will display all the content of the page down to the height it needs for hosting all the elements in the text field. So it's prepared for not JavaScript sites as well, for network connections, privacy issues, whatever. Also, we have the breadcrumbs, card, disclosure for displaying panels or hiding them. A drawer is is a menu on the side that is displayed from one side and then slides back to the edge of the browser. The flag is like one picture on the side and 1 or 2 lines of text below. The flyout is like the drop. No, it's like it shows a drop down. Pardon?
Accordion.
No, it's not the accordion. It's like the select. You click it and it displays down a set of things. Yeah, that drop-down menu. Thank you very much. So this is the flyout. This is a generic name because it can drop down or up. So that's why it's called flyout, because it flies out of the page. Of course, form, group of buttons and text fields and select and label buttons, for example. You can group them in just one group with accessibility attributes. And if you change the class of the group itself, of, for example, the shape, this class of the shape will apply to all the group. So only the corners of the ending and beginning element will be changed, and the others will be seamlessly attached to one another. The input group is the combo of text field and a button, for example, like search field or whatever. The responsive embed is for videos that when you change the width of videos or embedded content or an image or a map, for example, when they are resized, the height responds automatically to the width. So this is the responsive embed. The search box is like the input group is specifically for a search box. So you're not going to miss special IDs or whatever. And finally, the tabs. So you can tap from one tab to another and have different tabs and so on. So these are the things that you have available in PUXL now. And the next version will be more. And we'll be adding more with time, like, for example, accordions, I don't find the name now, the carousels, like Bootstrap. But we are working on a truly accessible one, not like the one they have. And we think they can be done many things with this. So you can play with it now.
So, sorry, one more question.
Yeah,
so at what point in the workflow of the development do you kind of apply this library? Because people may have their own classes for each of this element, right? Like they may have, like, for buttons, they may have a class, so they may have their own CSS file, and they run into conflict. So do you start with this framework and then kind of build on top of it?
Yeah, that's the goal, to use it.
Okay.
Like, the goal is to make a new standard tool for everyone to use that doesn't fail since the beginning, so that we can get rid of all the problems that come after that, like the WCAG and the ADA and so on. So if you want to implement it over an already done design, you would have to start over again. If you have done it with Bootstrap, for example, you can see here, I'll show you. Okay, no, not here. It was up there. Features, button. Okay, here's the link I showed you before. Is this link here, the call to action link, okay? So in Bootstrap, you would need to type btn space btn-default space btn-lg. It always starts with btn-anything else, right? Here with PUXL, you just write btn solid primary md. That way you have a shorter line of classes, and if you shorten all the classes of all the website, then you're getting a chunk of the code that you don't need, and you can get rid of it. So your HTML document is a bit lighter, and you don't require energy or data expenditure for loading the website from the server to the device of the user.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
When you were showing your CSS and you were showing the colors for color contrast, so are those are your colors, correct?
Yeah, yeah. The default colors.
So let's say at our company we have our library of our colors. Can we input those and replace with what you have, one? And how will we know, will it tell me, let's say I put in yellow and green, but the yellow and the green have a horrible contrast. And those are my two colors. Does that mean then at that point, A, I have to change the yellow and the green, or B, I have to change the combination of the yellow and the green? Maybe it'll be yellow and white and green and white instead. So
Okay.
is by me entering that data, the colors, will your program tell me? It'll flag me and it'll flag me. Will it give me? Will it give me an idea of what I need to change it to? Or do I have to keep testing it until it gets right?
You should keep testing when you want to input the two colors yourself. You have to test it because PUXL won't flag it. But if you change the palette of PUXL and then compile again all the framework, all the calculations will be done so that you don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So kind of going off that a little bit, I am curious about the compilation part. So for example, if I do want to change it to a different theme, for example, does it have to be a SAS file that I create and compile, or am I able to create CSS variables that will overwrite yours?
You can do it. You can create your own CSS variables that will override PUXL.
Okay, and where could I find those? Because when I looked at the light theme, it seemed to have a lot more variables than the compiled CSS.
Yeah, the theme is the place where you store all the variables imaginable to be able to control every single pixel of the application. For now, they are built in SAS, but now we are working on putting more CSS customized variables or CSS variables, customized properties. Sorry, AKA the CSS variables. So you can have more CSS variables available to you to play with them with CSS or JavaScript. So for now, you can control all the appearance in the theme, but the most part of them are just SAS variables that when they will comply and then will forget. There is also a file here called the structure file, which takes the SAS variables and stores them into CSS variables, so that you can have a set of CSS variables that take data directly from the theme. So you have a continuous appearance and everything works fine.
Okay, so just to make sure everything's clear, so if I want the most control, I should create my own theme in SAS and then make sure to compile all the SAS files. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. For example, I'm not very friendly with command line because it's like another galaxy for me. I am designer, not hard coder. Okay. So I use in this case I use brackets and with a plugin that compiles SAS for me, but it's not the only one. You can use Visual Code Studio or whatever with many plugins, or just install the SAS for yourself in your computer and then compile again. So each time you click, each time I type save, it will compile again. The compilation time when calculating many colors can be delayed. In the next version of PUXL, you have a new flag saying, okay, get rid of all the hard calculations. So the calculation time of 40 to 60 seconds goes all the way down to 1.
Oh yeah, that's a big difference. Okay.
A big difference, yeah.
Anyone else? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation tonight. That was really informative.
Did I pass the test?
Absolutely. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. If you haven't done so, I invite you guys to join our meetup. Sign up for it, and then you can get emails from me about future events and other going-ons and activities and all that jazz. So please join us there. We also have a Twitter feed that you can follow us on for additional news and information. And also for tonight's meetup and all of our past ones, you can check out our YouTube page, where if you want to see this again and all of our past events, we have them archived there. So please check that out. And once again, I'd like to thank my co-organizers, our production folks, and also again to our generous sponsors, Equal Entry, Adobe, Level Access, and Thoughtbot. So please stick around and have some one-on-one questions. We'll stop the stream now, but thank you all so much, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.